Hey guys, welcome. Last night until this morning, Star Citizen had our first Alpha 4.9 tech preview in testing for Evocati members, and the testing focus are mainly about instancing, which is aimed at the new GeForce. But the changes in this tech preview, which will probably be in Alpha 4.9, is more than just instancing. One of the biggest change is about total quantum field rebalance. Even though I am not able to show the Evocati game footage, but I have gathered some preliminary data regarding this. Again, this is a very early stage for Alpha 4.9, and the data I gathered are from the data mining, and all this are subject to change. But it will be interesting to see the general direction of this change. And I also love to hear about your opinions about these changes. Now, let's take a look. First of all, according to the data mining sources, the ship's quantum fuel tanks have been severely reduced from about 30% for smaller ships to 70% reduction for the biggest ships. But some ships have increases as well. Regarding the quantum drives, the quantum drive consumption has been modified across the board. Some doubled consumption, some halved it. And the general rule is that for the size 1 quantum drive, the consumption seems to have increased. For the size 3 quantum drive, the consumption seems to be decreased. And size 2 and size 4 are not as consistent as size 1 and size 3. If this were true, then the direction for the quantum fuel tank and quantum drive changes is that for smaller ships, you have less quantum fuel and the quantum drive consumption increased a lot. So you really can't fly anywhere far. And for the size 3 quantum drive for the bigger ships, if your quantum fuel tank has been reduced, but your quantum drive will have less consumption, so that's a trade-off. But in terms of exactly how much, we would have to wait for the PTU to drop to see. But this is a general direction, so we need to be prepared for that. I also received another set of data regarding the quantum fuel tank change. Let's take a look at them in detail. So it says Star Citizen quantum fuel tank comparison between 4.8.1 hot fix versus 4.9 tech preview. And thanks to this person for making this data. These numbers can change anytime, but be interesting to take a look first. So start with the A90 jump. In 4.8, we have 14.6 SCU of quantum fuel. But for 4.9, possibly it's been increased to 31.5 SCU. So increased by 16.9 SCU. That's the third number. And here will be the percentage change. Oh, very good. He also colored it with different colors. So the green color will be the one that's increased. And orange, yellow is the one that's decreased by different amount, and red is decreased significantly. Wow, look at this. The Aegis Idris, 120 SCU quantum fuel in the 4.8. In the 4.9, possibly reduced to only 27.5 SCU. But of course, it will also depend on the consumption rate of the quantum drive. Together, we can see a clear picture, but I don't have that data. And Anvil Carrick, surprisingly, the Carrick has been reduced even more, from 10.6 to 6.6. And now for the RSI Polaris here, right now it's a 12.6 SCU, and possibly in the 4.9 is a 4.1 SCU. Wow, reduced by 67%. Wait, the Polaris has exactly same quantum fuel capacity with the Zeus? We have the Zeus CL and the Zeus ES, right? So I don't know which Zeus is this. So this Zeus 1.8 increased to 4.1. Oh, over here we have a Zeus ES. So right now it's 2.6 and possibly 3.2. Ooh, that doesn't make sense because the Zeus ES is an exploration Zeus. It's supposed to have more quantum fuel capacity than the base Zeus, which is a Zeus CL. But the Zeus CL, according to this chart, is 4.1 and the Zeus ES is only 3.2. Some of these numbers doesn't make sense. Now let's look at some of the increases for the quantum fuel tank. So all the vanguards had a little increase from 2 SEU to 2.7 SEU, and Starfighter increased from 1.8 to 2.7, and this is a heavy fighter. And the Shift increased from 1.65 SEU to 2.7 SEU. Also, the Guardian and Guardian MX from 1.8 to 2.7. The Stinger increased from 1.35 to 2.7. And the Redeemer also increased a little bit from 1.8 to 2 SEU. So some of the heavy fighters, the quantum fuel capacity has been increased. And the Star Runner MSR decreased from 3.2 to 2 SEU. The Cutlasses has also been increased from 1.8 to 2 SEU. Oh, the Star Lancer and Star Lancer Tech decreased to 2 SEU. The Apollo and Apollo Medevac decreased from 4.5 to 2 SEU. The Bengal decreased from 400 to 2. Great! And the Bengal has exactly same amount of quantum fuel as a Constellation. The Constellation Andromeda decreased from 4.1 to 2 SEU. The Hermes as well, from 4.6 to 2 SEU. And now for the smaller ships, like the Pisces decreased from 1.8 to 1.3. The Cutter has been increased a little bit from 1.1 to 1.3. Aegis Eclipse decreased from 1.8 to 1.1. And the Argo Moth decreased from 2.6 to 1.1. Here is the Argo Mole. Argo Mole has a little bit more, 2.6 to 2.8. But the Argo Moth has been decreased. Yeah, the Argo Mole and Argo Moth, they are very similar ships. So some of these numbers doesn't make too much sense. Now, for these ships, Hornet, Hurricane, Nomad, Freelancer Max, Hull A, Mantis, Meteor, even the Scorpius, and Teres, the quantum fuel tank has been reduced to only 1.1 SEU. For the Avengers, Gladius, Saber, and Firebird, Gladiator, Anvil Hawk, Anvil Arrow, and some of the other Hornets. Actually, all the Hornets, including Mark 1 and Mark 2. Wow, all these ships, the light fighter, medium fighter, their quantum fuel has been reduced from 1.3 to 0.8 SEU. Even the Anvil Paladin and Terrapin Medic, only 0.8 SEU. All the Mustangs and the Golem and Golem Ox, Drake, Vulture as well, and the Sulan, Talon, the Wolf, Fortune, Prospector, Razor, all the Reliance, all the 100 Eyes, all the Auroras, even the Glade Blade Thighs, and the CN Santoki, the quantum fuel capacity is reduced to 0.8 SEU. Wow. Even though some of the ship numbers doesn't make sense, but I think this will be the general direction that the CIG wants to go. Now, if you remember this, many patches ago, we actually experienced this quantum fuel reduction once. I think something like this. Because I remember when I was testing that, I can't even jump a cutter from Crusader to Microtech during that nerf. And then the community reacted, and then CIG turned back. But right now, that is happening all over again. I don't know if this time CIG will turn back on this or not. But for some extent, I feel like this is necessary as well. Because if you watch my previous video and also the next video I'm going to publish regarding the Dead Saints hauling mission, I can literally fly the Drake Golem OX. I can literally fly it from Herson all the way to Pyro 2 to do the delivery missions and make 4 million AUEC in half an hour without doing any refueling. To me, that sounds a little bit ridiculous. It's good, of course, but wow, a Drake Golem OX can jump that far? So it's a bit too much. So I think this is the general direction, and it's a good direction. It's just some of the numbers doesn't make sense. For example, the Anvil Carrack, that's an exploration ship, right? The Carrack should have more quantum fuel. And the A90 Jump has the highest quantum fuel capacity, but I feel like the Idris should have more. And the Polaris and Perseus, has only 4.1 SEU, which is exactly same as the Zeus. And I don't know what Zeus is this, but the Zeus ES has only 3.2 SEU. I feel like the Zeus ES should have more quantum field than the base Zeus. And the Origin 600i, 3.2 SEU of quantum fuel. And the Starfarer and Starfarer Gemini, the fuel capacity has been reduced by half, from 8.6 to 4.1, more than half. But I'm not sure if the Starfarer can refuel itself. What if the refueling ship is out of fuel? So that could be a problem. But of course, we have the fuel rats now. If you have a refueling problem, we can always call the NPC fuel rats to refuel our ship. For the majority of the ships that I use the fuel rat services, they are pretty good. But some ships, it's currently bugged, like the Aegis Tiburon. You just cannot refuel with that ship. So again, I doubt this number will be the final number, but this is a direction that we are going to go. If this comes true in the coming 4.9, then we need to be prepared and have a better strategy in traveling around the verse, especially when you do combat, when you're flying the light fighter, medium fighter, and some of the heavy fighters. When you don't have enough fuel to travel, you might need a mothership or a carrier, or simply called the fuel rats. So this is it for this video, the preliminary check for the quantum fuel capacity change in the coming 4.9. And once 4.9 goes to official PTU, once we have the official patch notes, then I will be testing every single ship in detail to figure out the quantum fuel tank change as well as the consumption rate for different type and different size of the quantum drives. By then, we'll have a more accurate picture of how this quantum fuel rework is going to be. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.